Sky theme tune. And Sky and a certain Mr. Carl Fogarty, for me, are synonymous with creating this incredible image that was and is the 4-time World Superbike champion, king of the jungle. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Breakfast Club, Carl Fogarty!
Morning.
Morning, my love, how are you?
I'm good. This is really weird, this. I've not seen you for ages, or even spoke to you for ages, and never done this shit before, so I don't know how it's going to go. But,
well,
yeah.
It'll be fine. I think the last time I saw you actually was sports personality, but the last time we had a proper chat was when you were inducted into the FIM Legends, wasn't it, a few years ago?
The awards thing, yeah, I remember that, yeah. Vaguely.
You know what stays with me about that award? Obviously, congratulations, by the way. You are a legend. We've known that for years. Was when I came down afterwards, because remember you and Mikayla came up to the stage, and I sort of jumped. I think you picked me up and I jumped down, and we all ended up a bit emotional, didn't we? All ended up a bit tearful because we were reminiscing about the old days, and we hadn't seen each other for years and stuff like that, and we're getting a bit old and soft.
Can't quite remember, actually. I think I was quite intoxicated at that point, really. But yeah, I remember some issue backstage. I can't remember what it was now, but I was supposed to come on when, and I didn't come on at the right time, and you was shouting my name, and this guy kept holding me back, and I don't know what it was all about, but yeah, we kind of got there in the end, and we got the award and carried on drinking, I guess. Yeah,
it was one of those nights. Keeping me waiting again. No, that's not anything that you ever did, actually. First of all, listen, how are you? Because I know that you and Mikayla have been very unwell, and you pretty much thought it was the coronavirus. So how are you both doing?
Yeah, actually really good. I feel mint, to be honest, at the moment. I mean, the weather's been amazing here. I think we've had the sunniest April on record. So the last 2 weeks, I've just been out doing stuff outside, and the gym in the morning, cycling, mountain biking, out on the motocross bike, in the field and stuff. So I actually feel the best I've felt for a long, long time. But yeah, going back probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, yeah, that wasn't good at all. I think, well, I'm pretty much 100% certain we've had it. Obviously not had the test yet, with all the controversy and confusion over the test. I don't know if we can have that at some point. I don't know. I'd like to, so we all peace of mind, but I can't think what else it could have been when you've got all the symptoms. You know,
it's been a bit scary at the time, though, because what was it? Was it the thing on the chest that was particularly different to a normal flu, for example?
I didn't really have the chest thing. For me, it was just really high temperature, headaches, the coughing was horrendous. I was just aching in places I've never ached before, and I was just tired the whole time. So that was the main thing for me. It's something I never had before, obviously. But with Mikayla, she had all those, plus the trouble with the chest and breathing, you know, and it kind of got a little bit scary. So at one point, I'm just, you know, kind of what do we do here? Sort of, you know, ringing the 111 number, is it, I think. And then I obviously spoke to a doctor. He sent out some antibiotics for a chest and an inhaler for a coughing, like an asthma inhaler thing, you know. And she came through it, obviously. I don't know if that works or not, but it just run its course, and, you know, she just kind of got better. But she does think that the inhaler helps a little bit, to be honest. So, but yeah, it was a bit. I mean, she's probably the fittest one I was all, really. And I thought, I'm one of them that picks up a cold straight away. If someone's got a cold like a mile away, I've got it straight within 5 minutes. Well, she never gets anything like that. So I thought, God, because she started before me, probably about 3 days before me. And I thought, oh my God, she's bad. She's going to flatten me, this is. And it kind of did, but I didn't have any trouble breathing. That's the only thing I didn't struggle with, which is obviously the thing that's, you know, killing people off, really, the chest and the breathing, having to go into hospital on the ventilators. That's obviously what we didn't want to happen. It never got to that. She got better, and she's fine now, fit and healthy, and she just sat outside me at the moment, actually, checking on me, keeping an eye on me, making sure I don't say anything I shouldn't say.
Right, well, come on then, let me see her. Let me say hello to her. I'm here. Mikayla, get in shot. Where are you? I've got a slight delay. Hang on. There you are. Hi. I'm so glad to hear that you're better. Are you all right? How is it with? I mean, I know he's around a lot these days, but obviously he's been around all the time. So, are you all right, you two?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm getting him doing a bit of DIY. Unheard of, but yeah, he's outside with his brush.
Power washing,
he's
painting.
been painting gates.
Fixing punches on a car because she seems to run over every screw or a nail anywhere on the road anywhere, so I have to keep fixing punches all the time.
Well, I haven't actually been out in it much, but
well,
it's been a slow, shopping, But yeah, we're all good. I'm like Carl said, yeah, I've had this coronavirus thing, and I was rough, really rough, but and it probably took about 3 weeks, you know, but through it now, and now I know how ill I felt because now I know how good I feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you both look great, and I was thinking last night that you guys, I think next year you've been married for 30 years, isn't it? Your 30th anniversary next year.
Yeah, 30 years.
Yeah, it is.
I think I deserve a year off, don't I?
I think she does.
You can have two.
You can have two. Be careful what you wish for.
Actually, next year is 1991 we got married, so next March is 30 years. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, Danielle, because I mean she was born later that year, so yeah, she's 30 next year. It's just I can't
shotgun
believe
wedding then?
Pardon?
Was it a shotgun wedding?
No.
Not really.
No.
There's a lot. I can't remember now.
Still here, aren't I?
All I remember doing is we planned it in that, I guess, 5 or 6 weeks. I raced at Daytona the week before. I remember saying, "Don't you bloody go hurt yourself at Daytona," sort of thing. And I crashed. I'm running fourth at the time. I think I was actually back to Scott Russell. I think it was for 4th place. And I remember coming through the start and finish, and I just seen this guy in front with he's obviously the engine blew up and the smoke everywhere. And just as I sat up to brake, and just down I went. You know how fast it is there going through the start and finish and going to turn 1 at Daytona. I just went down and I just stayed on my bike. And I was sliding. I thought, and I'm getting really hot here now, so I thought I went onto the other side and slid that way a little bit. So all I got was a few little cuts and scratches on my finger and on my side a little bit, and got away with it really. But that was the week before the wedding in March, 91.
Unbelievable way to Can I? And well, I'm glad you're there actually, because I can ask you both about this. We need to talk about the Joker.
I'll just leave you two chatting. I'll just clear off for a bit.
Well, actually, when you came on air,
I couldn't get on.
At about 1 minute to 9, he said, "I need the loo," and I thought, "Oh no, I'm gonna be. It's gonna be."
Well, just as you came to me, I just sat down. She said, "Quick, you're coming on now," and I was having a wee.
I guarantee you'll need another before you finish.
I saw the tea I drink in the morning.
It's like being on the grid.
Nothing to do with my age. Oh, God.
Listen, what about this incredible video that you did, jumping down the stairs as the Joker? I mean, I honestly, when I first saw it, I thought, is that actually Carl?
Yeah, no, a lot of people said that. I didn't know it was me.
Well, do you know what? No, can I just say, just like they said, this bit of a funny story, really. We actually went to see it, the film, on a rainy Monday afternoon when we thought it'd be really quiet. You know, there wouldn't be many people about, because Carl's got this thing about going to the cinema, people eating while
crisps. You should ban crisps and popcorn.
So we went.
I'm with you.
Really quiet. So we went this one afternoon, and we sat there, and it got going. I thought, I really like this film. It's so good, and he's so good in it. And then about halfway through, as that was about 10 minutes ago, somebody needed the loo. So typical Carl had to get up and go to the loo. This is like a vital moment in the film. So I'm sat there and I thought, well, it'd be all right, you know, he'll be back in a minute. And then I got engrossed in about 10 minutes later. I thought, he's not back. Where is he? So I'm like, okay, I thought, I don't want to miss it. But I'm thinking, he's gone to the loo, right? There's about 7 other cinema screens, and he probably doesn't even know what cinema we're in. Do you know what I mean? Which screen we're in. So he's gone, and then I thought, oh no, but I didn't want to get up from this film because it's just getting so good, you know. So I'm kind of looking around thinking, bloody hell, Carl, where are you, you know? And he came back in and he couldn't find his seat. So I'm like looking, and the lady next to me went, "Are you looking for your husband?" And I said, "Yeah." She went, "He's been walking up and down the aisles for the last 10 minutes, can't find his seat." Thought he'll have had to go and sit next to some poor randomer. And that's exactly what he had done. But when we came out of there, I said to him, that film was just so good. I said, "You know what? If you were made up," I said, "you look like him." And I said that at the time. And then it just got forgotten about. And then he'll carry on. But a friend of ours put something on Instagram about coming out of lockdown with the picture of the Joker coming down those
That was a
stairs.
video. She posted the video of him actually, Joaquin Phoenix, who's my favourite actor, by the way, in the world, coming downstairs, doing the dance, and with a caption, "This is me after lockdown, on my way to making a lot of bad decisions." I thought it was really funny. I said, I could do that. All right, I could do that. She said, "Go on, I can make you look like him easily. You don't look too far away from him anyway." So within 5 minutes, she'd ordered everything from Amazon, and the suit, and the makeup, and the hair, the paints, and the dye. Sorry, I think it was about less than 70 quid for the whole lot. So it all turned up. I think it was last Monday,
Something like
and
that.
we don't really plan to do it then or anything. I think we're just kicking around. Nothing much is happening. My daughter's staying here with a boyfriend. He's staying as well. It's his birthday, so we're just kind of getting a bit of a birthday celebration ready. So come on, let's go and try this makeup out on you now. So it looks like. So I put it all on. It looked really good actually, as you've seen.
It's not a really hard makeup to do because it is quite organic in it, how he does it anyway. It's not fancy, so it was quite easy to do. But I thought this was just going to be a trial, you know. Got this wax, this like green wax put in his hair, and it basically is just simple makeup and the suit were on. I thought, and then
I just took the suit on. I went upstairs, and someone put the music on, and so I think there was someone knocking at the door at the time. The post was here, it was some male. So it was all kicking off. I like dogs barking, and I just thought, look, I'll go upstairs and I might just give it a try out, you know. And then someone put the music on. I was like, getting wound up about it. It's a bad mood. So I just thought, do it. And that was the first take. That was it, done. I only did it once. That's what you've seen. I came down. I could hear one of the kids shouting something. I was
shouting Dad.
Yeah. So I was ignoring that. And I was shuffling along. I jumped down and said, "Oh, my fucking knee!" My knee went straight away. And I shuffled to one side. I almost fell over the banister at one point. I don't know if you can. Probably, if you look back, you can probably see that. Then I just kept carrying on throwing some strange shapes and whatnot. But my knee was killing me. And that was it, yeah. But I knew it would get some reaction. But yeah, it's just a lot of people. I think it's about 1 million people seen it on my Facebook or something. And yeah, it was just dead funny. 90% of people thought it was hilarious. You always have one or two that don't find it funny. But, you know, I did it more for them anyway, I guess.
Well, there's always the thing.
He did look like him, didn't he?
I didn't
really
think it was Carl, Mikayla. I was, first of all, I didn't know Carl could dance, and your moves were pretty good. And I actually thought you were acting because you looked like, you know, because obviously he's losing the plot in it. I just thought it was brilliant. Yeah. And it wasn't until a couple of days later that I revisited. I thought, no, it is you. It is you. That's your house.
Yeah. He really did. Like I said, when we saw the film, I said, you know what? There's a resemblance there. You know, when you have this makeup on. And then when I started putting this makeup on in the bedroom upstairs, I'm like, oh my God.
She wanted me to leave it on.
This is a bit scary. No, you wanted to leave it on.
He said, leave it.
You wanted to leave it.
Quite fancy again now. Can you leave the suit on in bed tonight?
Was there a good night then?
I fell asleep.
Hey, Mikayla, did you put your Union Jack dress on?
Oh, please, that blooming Union Jack dress. Somebody asked me about that the other day, you know. Good grief, what was I thinking? It actually should have been English, because you know how he's English flag and all that. But yeah, I don't think we could find one at the time. But no, those days are long gone, Susie, for little dresses like that.
That was 1997, Brands Hatch, the first time that I think I met you, Mikayla. And I'm just going to explain to my Geordie lodger here what happened. So Carl was, you know, king of Brands Hatch, and Mikayla was wearing a Union Jack dress, really short, really sexy. And it was on Sky Sports. Of course, they were like trying to put Mikayla on camera more than any other rider or anything. Yeah.
It's on YouTube, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, it's on YouTube.
We'll check it out on YouTube later.
Those days, Brands Hatch, the sea of red. That, I mean, I'd never forget that, you know. I mean, my memory's terrible these days, but I remember waking up in the motorhome that morning. The motorhomes were down at the bottom of, as you go, what's the first corner called there?
In the second paddock.
Yeah, down at the bottom anyway. And
first corner.
And,
I don't know. I should know the names of the corners, but I never do. Turn 1. It's the name of the first.
No,
I don't know the name of the paddock.
Anyway, so we were down. I woke up and opened the like curtains in the motorhome, looked up, and even at that time in the morning there were people.
Oh, it's full of the grandstand.
It was just to see around. I thought, oh my God! I mean, you know, it's quite sickening. And I was only there watching But it was amazing, the amount of people that were just there to support him that day. Just
well, you could never see a blade of grass, could you, back in those days at Brands? I mean, the
No.
atmosphere was just extraordinary. And so were you able to sleep in the motorhome then? Because obviously there's a lot of people camping, a lot of noise being made. How did that go?
It wasn't too bad, really, from what I can remember. I think we were kind of well away from all the sort of fans where they were camping out, to be honest. I mean, I never slept brilliant night before a race anyway, especially my home race as well. I always wanted to win, even more so at the British round, you know, for the British fans who kind of paid the money to see that, you know. So I always felt a big responsibility to them, really. So I didn't sleep brilliantly, but yeah, that day it was a strange day. That day on the race day, I was leading the first. I was trying to get to the lead of the first race. I was getting held up by. There's 2 or 3 guys, I can't remember who it was now. It might have been Neil Hodgson and Simon Crayford, maybe Kasinski, and I was definitely faster. I was getting frustrated trying to get past them. It's really hard to get past the Brands. For me anyway, I don't know why. I tried to get on the gas really early, coming out of turn 2 with the hairpin. I can't remember. I don't know what it's called.
isn't it, when you can't remember any names?
Well, is it Druids? I don't know what it's called. Anyway, no, it's not. Anyway, I high-sided and went down, crashed out, and took Simon Crayford with me, and I think Killy as well. 3 of us went down, and I was absolutely mortified. I was supposed to win that race, you know. It was there for the take. It was an easy race win. It was Brands Hatch and the crowd and everything, you know. And I had to pick myself up and for the second race, and the race got delayed. I can't remember now. I think it was a bad accident. In fact, a guy, I think, lost his life in the Revel.
Yeah,
like a British lad. So obviously, the race was delayed with no idea what had happened at the time. And then by the time they restarted it, I think I was leading the race by a few seconds. And the race was stopped again because it rained. Sorry, the rain came down. So then we waited and waited. And then the second part of the race in the rain, when I was never the fastest guy in the world in the wet, far from it, you know. But I knew I had to keep, I think Kasinski was 3 seconds behind me, maybe 4, I can't remember what it was now, 3 or 4. And I got away in the wet. I was going around the first lap or 2, and Michael Rutter came flying past. I think he was a British Championship rider at the time.
Wildcard.
Yeah, wildcard ride. And they just had a race, I think, there in the wet as well at Brands, I think, only a few weeks before that. And he came past and just kind of cleared off, really. And then Kasinski came past me, so then I was just sort of red rag to the bull, really. I just thought I've got to keep with him. And he was fast in the wet. He really was fast in the wet. He won a few races that year in the wet, really. I think that's what kind of helped him see his season win the World Championship, if I'm honest. The first 2 or 3 rounds were wet in Phillip Island and Misano, another one somewhere. So I was chasing him and just doing everything I could stay with him, you know. And then we started catching, obviously, Michael a bit. And I knew if I just stayed behind him and kept going, then the race was mine. And that's kind of what happened. Across the line, sort of half a second behind him. So I'd won it by 3 seconds. So, yeah, it was the last time I won a race, actually. That was at Brands, actually, 97. I didn't win after that. We never had too much good luck there, really, over the years, if I'm honest.
I guess Assen was your place, really. But just while you mentioned John Kasinski there, did you, obviously you spent a reasonable amount of time with him in 96. Did you get on with John? Because he is an unusual character, isn't he?
Not really. I didn't get on with anybody, did I, really, to be fair?
No. Okay.
And at least of all him, really. I don't know why it was. I almost look back now and you're kind of a bit embarrassed about it all. You get reminded of stuff with YouTube and all the social media stuff these days. But yeah, I just still focused on winning and whatnot. I hated anyone that kind of got close to me, I guess, or I don't know what it was. But there were a lot of strong. So the answer to your question is no, I didn't get on until I didn't like it.
Let me interrupt though. We went to a
I was going to get.
we went to America last year for Ducati and bumped into him.
Yeah, best mate now.
What a nice guy.
Yeah,
we met his son and everything. Really nice bloke. I guess different when different circumstances, different. You know, they're not racing anymore, are they? And he's 20 years older, so yeah. But yeah, such a nice bloke.
Yeah, so back then everybody there was such. I mean, you remember what they're like. They're all big characters. They all weren't afraid to say what was on their mind. Sort of wore their heart on the sleeve, sort of thing. And you know, it wasn't just Kasinski. There was Colin and Scott
and Aaron as well.
big characters, you know, Hoggers, everybody. So none of us really seem to like each other, to be honest, anyway, which is fine by me. But yeah, and obviously now it'll change quite a lot now, a lot more sort of laid back and mellowed over the years, really. So it was funny, like Mikayla said last year when I went to Laguna Seca, my first time. I've been there for 20 years since I last raced there in '99. For the launch of the new Ducati 916 anniversary Panigale thing, you know, and Kasinski was there, and I just presumed he must go every year. He said, "This is the first time I've been here in 20 years." Yeah, so we had a bit of lunch. He was sat with us. It was just weird. I felt like I should have said sorry, really, but no, it was fine. But he was still a bit weird, like he is. And we were like talking about back in the old days or something, and he was like going, "Hey man, we were like caged animals. We were like caged animals in the past." And I'm thinking, caged animals, aren't they a bit like lethargic and calm and, you know, not really aggressive? But I think I knew what he was trying to get at. I think I know what he was trying to mean about it all. But yeah, it was interesting to spend a bit of time with him, actually. Yeah, I suppose
it is interesting, isn't it? When, I mean, obviously going back all those years, 20 years ago, I was interviewing. I think one of the reasons why I got the job at Sky was because John Kasinski wouldn't be interviewed by anybody. They couldn't get an interview on television with him. So they thought if they stuck a girl in front of him, he would speak, and he did. So I was interviewing all of you guys, and, you know, you could all be a bit spiky because you want to be a world champion. I mean, it's pretty obvious, really, standing on the outside looking in. And now I know you all 20 years later, like Mick Doohan, everybody, you know, everybody's just really nice now and just really easy and really approachable. But it's that, what is it that makes someone a world champion, that extra percentage? Where do you think that comes from, and how do you think it prevails in your life? Because you've got to be selfish at the time, haven't you?
Yeah, I was probably the most selfish person in the world. She'd probably vouch for that, really, and like she put up with a lot from me. I wasn't until I retired from racing I thought, oh my God, she put up with some shit for me, to be honest. She really did. But yeah, it's just that selfishness, determination, the fear of losing, the hatred of finishing second. I just hated it, really. It kind of became an obsession, really. The more I won, the more I had to win. And it never got any easier. I remember the start of the season in 2000, I was more fired up and more wound up than ever before. You'd think I'd be more probably relaxed, knowing I've already won world championships and that kind of thing. But it's that hunger, desire and things to win. And I think that what I created back then, obviously, with the Sky, with Sky Sports, they made the sport so big, made me a household name. And, you know, all the crowds are massive. The money that was getting thrown at the sport was huge. The manufacturers were throwing loads of money. It was the biggest four-stroke championship in the world. So it just created all these personalities as well, really. There's some, you know, hungry, determined guys who really wanted to win. And I think that was where I clashed a lot, because I came up against guys that, you know, were a bit like me, really, wanted to win as badly as I did, like Colin or Kasinski, obviously, and Scott Russell in certain years. They were just, you know, and it made it really good for the crowd and for everybody watching that. And with the way Sky built it up, like a boxing match in a way, you know.
Yeah,
the
massively.
That's what it was like. It was just strong characters, great riders, and none of us really liked each other, so that made it even better in some ways. But like I said, now we're all chilled out a bit, and, you know, we see each other, have a few beers, and maybe a laugh about it, you know.
And, you know, can I just take you back to that feeling of winning? Because when I look back last night at some of your interviews, I got the sense, and I've heard you say it as well a little bit, that at all costs you wanted to win. And then you would stand on the top of the podium and you would look elated for seconds, and then you'd be thinking about the next race. So was there much joy in your life at that time, or did it feel more like an addiction then? Yeah,
you're right. It's funny. If there's one regret I have, I didn't really enjoy it. And that's, you know, I regret that, not enjoying it. But then people say, well, don't, you know, if that was just how you were, really. You enjoyed it. Maybe you wouldn't have been as successful as you were, really. So, yeah, you're right. Once I crossed that line, especially I get goosebumps now talking about it, at Browns or something, or at Donington for me, was obviously that was a better circuit for me, I think. And you stood on the top step of the podium, and listening to the national anthem, and I loved it for just a few seconds, and then as soon as it finished, I'm thinking, right, next week we're racing Austria. Didn't go too well there last year. What we've got to do? We've got to change the bike so it suits me better around this part. You know, my head had gone straight away, so you know, I was straight away thinking about the next race and not really enjoying it and going out celebrating probably like the other guys were really. So and I kind of miss. I wish I wasn't like that. I regret that, but then.
Maybe that's what makes you a world champion.
Maybe that's why, you know, I don't know.
Maybe that's the secret.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it's almost like the best drug and the worst drug in the world, isn't it? Because the high is just so short.
I mean, I think people probably saw the real me. When I did the TV show about 4 or 5 years ago now, and I think, you know, there's two different people. The guy that Carl Fogarty at race, who was just, you know, ruthless, ignorant, sort of obnoxious, I guess, in a lot of ways, wanted to win, and it wasn't easy to persevere around. But I was so not like that, really. When I got home, I was probably quite shy and a bit, you know, just more of a funny guy who likes to take the mickey out of himself and others, really. And I think that's probably what came across when I did the TV show. People thought, oh my God, he's just an ordinary guy from the north of England, from Blackburn, who just happened to be able to ride a motorcycle. But well, the way I look at it, I mean, I don't consider myself as a celebrity or famous or anything like that. I know to a lot of other people I am, but as long as I don't believe that, I'll always be fine. And for me, I'm just an ordinary guy that just happened to ride a motorcycle a little bit quicker than some other guys at a point in time in his life quite a few years ago, and that was it really. And that's, you know, the way I look at it now. I don't see myself as a celebrity or famous or anything like that, even though obviously to other people you are. But as long as I don't believe that, then that's fine. I'll always be. I think people always kind of like you for that, really down to earth sort of guy. Ish.
It's nice that you can also maintain your privacy, isn't it, in that situation? I mean, obviously after I'm a Celebrity, there was a lot of mainstream interest, and you do sort of get invaded. And I remember at the time, Mikayla, you said that you learned things about Carl in the jungle that you didn't know.
No, I didn't. He went in. I didn't want him to go in because...
The funny thing is, I got asked to go in just after I retired from racing, so probably about 2 or 3 years seasons into the show, so it would have been probably all 3, something like that, I think it would have been. And she was then, back in all 3, was going, you should do it. And I went, there's no way I'm going to do it now. I think I'm still that guy that racing in my head, and still think, you know, I'm believing all the press, and you know, there's the King, World Superbike, all that kind of thing. I didn't want to go in. I just thought I'll hate it, sort of thing. But it's funny, I watched it over the years, in the early years. It's only one of them kind of shows I'd ever watched, really. Because I love the concept and the idea of it, really. And so for him to come back 15 years later, whatever it was, and ask me again, ITV, she was dead against it then. So she'd gone completely the other way.
Well, Carl's mum hadn't been very well. Well, she wasn't very well at the time. And so there was all that going on. And then when I thought about him going in, I thought, hang on a minute. This is a guy who doesn't like mixing with others. He can't stand being hungry.
Does not play well with others.
He can't stand being hungry, and boredom is
that was the
thing.
No. Well, that's why I went in.
So I'm going, look, you're just gonna make yourself look a prat if you go on here.
You didn't say that, you said twat.
I did not.
You did. No, you did. You look a twat. Everyone else say you think you will.
Just
anyway.
Steady your language. Anyway, but I just thought it's kind of, you just do not do this.
So anyway,
it's suicide.
The kids are going to do it, and now I'm like, God, I kind of fancy it now. I thought, you know what, this is me. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to do it. So I tell them yes. I said to Neil, my manager, to tell ITV, but I didn't tell Mikayla. She didn't find out because this was all agreed in something like the March time. It would have been.
I kind of think of it.
And she didn't know. I was thinking I'm going to tell her, and she found out that I'd said yeah, and she didn't speak to me for about 2 months. It was brilliant. It was great.
Wow,
No.
Don't be like that now. Stop being nasty. Stop being nasty.
It's true though. I didn't tell her. So anyway, I did it, and I actually thought I'd probably be the first one out. I didn't care if I was. You know, I thought this is me, and we'll see what happens. You know, but yeah, there you go. I can't believe it. I'm still myself.
So when I did eventually watch it, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'd see Big Humble Pie, because every night, you know, like we used to go in the bus to see the evictions when we were in camp, And I just thought, today will be the day, and there'd be a busload of us, all the friends and family going, and I'd be there every morning still. I'm thinking, oh my God, he's still in. I thought he was going to be first out. I thought, this is big humble pie I'm going to have to eat when it comes out.
Put on the right Oscar-winning performance and then pull the wool over everyone's eyes. But no, like Mikayla said at the start, at the end I thought, you know what, it's not doing it for money or fame and like those things don't into it. I want to see if I can do this. I want to see if I can cope with other people, living with other people, other so-called other celebrities. I don't know if I can do that because that's not me. I'm not sure how I'm going to cope with that. But I want to see if I can cope without food. I love my food. I really do love my food. No food and the boredom. So that was the three things I went in there for to see if I could cope with it. And I must admit, I surprised myself if I'm honest. I coped a lot better than I thought I would. You know, I really did. Once I got my head around it for a couple of days and threw myself into it, to be honest, I got a really good bunch of people in there, which helped. I think the biggest fear for me going well was the other contestants. Because if you get, you know, a couple of complete dicks in there or whatever, it's going to be a long and lonely place, a hard place to be for 2 or 3 weeks in there. If you're not getting on with the others, and I got a really good bunch, I got on really well with everybody. So that helps. I think even recent years, I think that's been the case as well. So, but yeah, as the days and the kind of weeks went by, and you're still in there, you're thinking, why am I still in here? It's like, you know, it's just even when I got to the final, I thought, oh my God, I come third, like biggest TV show in the UK. I finished third, and then Mel went, and I thought, oh my God, I'm second, you know. Then when they said he won it, I dropped to the floor. I still can't believe it to this day that just an ordinary sort of dickhead from Blackburn, Lancashire can win the biggest TV show in the UK. It was a bit mad, isn't it, really? How was that? Just for being an ordinary guy, I guess, from Blackburn.
Would you do it, Suzi? Would you do it?
I don't. Well, I'm a vegetarian. So I don't think
we can accommodate.
Well, you'd be right with rice and beans.
That's all
well, yeah, it would be alright with eating.
You don't get much else, to be honest. It's funny because
no,
I'll eat anything, me, and the girls who were in there, were, like the first couple of days, the camera was crocodile's foot one day. Well, the girls are not eating that. With mutton birds, some horrible wallaby or whatever it was, I can't remember now. So the girls eat it, so I'm like, give it here, I'll eat it, I'll eat anything. I was sucking bones off, I mean, everything in there, really. I could eat, I was starving. But the girls would just eat the rice and beans and pick and poke a little bit of the, whatever veg was on the table, on the plate, really. So, yeah, I did all right, really, for food. It wasn't too bad for me.
So that's not your excuse. They'll accommodate.
I suppose you were able to engage that part of your brain that made you into a world champion that could just completely focus you 100%. If you were eating or doing something you didn't want to do, you would just be able to completely focus.
Yeah, I mean, I've compared it to racing motorbikes at that level, and people think, what are you on about? So it's just, again, the self-belief, you know, come on, you can do this.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, you know, you stop moaning, you're not starving to death, you're getting rice and beans everywhere, there's folks starving to death around the world, shut them, you know. I'm like talking to myself thinking, you can, if you're bored, go and collect some more wood, keep the fire going, boil some more water. So
yeah,
it's a lot like, it is a more mental thing in there, I think, than physical, to be honest. The only time you feel the physical thing, when you go and do a trial, I think, I'm out of breath here. And I got pretty fit before I went in there. But after 4 days not eating any food, really, your energy's gone. You know, you need fuel in the tank, and there was no fuel in the tank. I was just come to a challenge, and you're just out of breath doing it. You know, it's amazing, really, how it hits you. But
you know what? I remember. I remember when it started, and sorry, there's a slight delay between you and I don't mean to talk over you. I was on the Steve Wright show, and all the names had been released. And he said to me, you know, do you watch it? And I said, yeah, I think it's a cracking show. I think the format's brilliant, and it's just really interesting to watch people in that situation. And he read the names out, and he said, and he was going through the favourites, which, you know, no offence, you weren't obviously on the list of favourites. And he said, who do you think is going to win? And I said, Carl Fogarty. No. And he sort of looked at me, and I went, you watch, he'll win. I said, you'll surprise everybody. But also, all the bikers will definitely vote for him, and we're an amazing family. We're an incredible community that support each other and protect each other, and they will vote for Carl. And then he'll have time then for everybody to see what a character he is. And I said that on Steve Wright, and he looked at me as if honestly I was a bit mad, and I was so chuffed that you weren't, obviously, because I know you and you're a mate and the biking thing and everything. But I just thought it was so brilliant, and for everybody to see the other side of you, you know. So it was lovely.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was an amazing experience. The whole thing really, really was. Something I'll never forget. 3 weeks, 3 nights in there. It was just, it's unbelievable. Really, away from your family, sleeping in a hammock. You know, not much food with a bunch of strangers. It's just the most incredible, surreal kind of thing I've ever done. Ever will do, probably. I guess. Yeah. They've been trying to get me on Strictly Come Dancing for the last 3 years, but.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Because you can obviously dance.
After seeing that Joker video, maybe you should.
Do it.
I'm just going. Well, all my injuries as well to my legs. Are just, no, my mates just want me to go on because they don't want to laugh at me in the pink sequin top, throwing some shapes with some Russian bird probably, but I'm not sure. Michaela, you might be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
But no, I ain't doing that one.
Right through it, admit that.
Tried to get me on a few of them, like the Celebrity Master Chef, and I'm like, no, I've not lost 2 minutes on there, man. Not them. I hate being told what to do and having someone criticise how my presentation is on a plate of food. It goes straight in the face. So it's really the worst to me on them 2 shows. So I've said no to them 2. No way. I've done the main one. That's it. I'm done. I'm retired.
Okay, well, happy enough. Let's. How are we doing for time, Geordie Lodger?
Yeah, we've got another 20 minutes.
Oh, okay, marvellous.
There's 2 people here.
I shall leave you to it now, shall I?
Oh, are you off? Are you going off, Michaela?
I've been on my knees for the last 45 minutes.
No.
They're old knees, so I need to get up. I'll be on the side. If you need me, I'll pop back in.
Well, it's gorgeous to see you. Thank you for joining us.
You, nice to see you, Lucy.
Lucy.
Suzi.
Lucy. It's the age thing. I forgot.
Tell me about it. My memory's terrible. It really is.
Just got to look at something, Carl. Excuse me for a second.
Bring
Josh Mooney saying hello. Oh, Michael van der Mark's on. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Lots of bike racers dropping in to see what the king has got to say. As Michael van der Mark was on, Carl, shall we have a chat about Assen? Because that was an incredible circuit for you. Amazing memories. I mean, it was almost like a home race, wasn't it, really, in terms of the fact that all the Brits would go over there, and when you walked out from your garage, it would just be like Brands Hatch all over again, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was. My favourite circuit, as you know. Obviously not the same circuit anymore. They've changed it, and it's off probably the best bit of the best circuit in the world, really, over the last 10 years, wherever it was since they've changed it. But like you say, it was like another home race. I think in '99, I pretty much clinched the championship though in '99, to be honest. They reckon there was 65,000 Brits went over to watch that race. I think it was a crowd of 1,000. But yeah, it was a circuit that just suited me as a rider, my style, that kind of letting go of the brakes into corners, get on the gas quick, corner speed, lean angle. With the camber there at Assen, I could do that and show my strengths, you know, as a rider there. And it just, like I say, every year, I think I won 12 out of 14 races there. And the only 2 I remember is the 2 I lost. It's typical of me, that. Because I shouldn't really have lost them. I messed up. My own fault, really. Well, I said my own fault. Kasinski was the first to beat me there. The double in '93, double in '94, '95, '96. So '97, it was between him and me for the championship as well. We hated each other. I think you spoke to us actually on that morning.
I did that. Yeah, I did. Do you remember the interview? I got you both together, and I don't think either of you know that. Oh, it's very unprofessional of me, but neither of you know that you're both going to be there. And I did the interview, and you wouldn't look at each other. And I just had to keep putting my mic like this. And then at the end, I did this sort of closing piece to camera, and you both just stormed off out of shot on different sides. It was a good interview, though.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. That maybe I think the weather was looking a bit iffy. I think on a race day anyway, I didn't like being bothered by anybody, to be honest. I maybe had something in mind. Maybe things weren't quite going as smooth as I thought they were at Assen that particularly. I don't know. But in the race, it was obviously between me and him. I remember leading it, and he came past, and towards the end of the race, I thought, I'm all right here. I'm definitely quicker where I need to quicker. In the last 2 or 3 corners into chicane, I thought, I'm all right, I'm fine. And it was starting the last lap, and this thing hit me, the size of an helicopter on my visor.
Bug.
I could see a thing, and I lost the race to him. And I come in, and I remember seeing Slick, and I went, just look at the state of that. I said, I can't for shame go on TV now and say, I've lost the race to a bug landed on my visor, but it was horrendous. Honestly, so I couldn't see the apexes. You really need to see the apexes at Assen. And I lost the race. First time I'd lost the race in years, though, you know. And I shouldn't have done. Anyway, I put it right in the second race and won. And then again the year after, I lost the first race. Well, obviously, incident with Killy in '98. Again, it was in '98. It was a funny season, really. I ended up winning the World Championship, but probably didn't deserve to in some ways. I didn't ride that well, which I guess says a lot about me in some ways. I didn't ride well. I was not consistent. I wasn't fast. I didn't win many races, but I still won the world title. The others were similar to me, really. But going into Assen in '98, there's still about 5 of us could have won the championship, to be honest. I think it was, oh God, it was a Harger, probably Slight, Killy, me and Corsa. I think it was a 5. Maybe it was too far away. I can't remember now. But I needed to start winning the races there. And then in the first race, Killy came by, but it was holding me up. But I noticed his bike was really quick, but I quickly got past it. No one could seem to lead a race at Assen. So I got back past him again. I couldn't shake him off. And then on the last lap, he just pulled out, obviously from behind me, and came past me down the straight like I was stood still. And I lost the race. And I was furious. I'm thinking, there's a conspiracy here now. He's Italian bike, Italian team. There's two separate teams as well, don't forget. And they didn't like each other. The 2 team bosses didn't like each other.
Because you've got Davide Todozzi, and he's got Virginio Ferrari at the time.
I'm with Todozzi, and Killy is with Virginio Ferrari with Corsa. And he could tell something was bubbling up and something was going to happen, really. He had that sense. And I remember even Troy said, yeah, his bike was much faster than mine. Also, the worst thing anyone could say to me was that, he just added fuel to the fire. I was like bouncing, thinking, I mean, it isn't true. We all got the same. I know we did. When you got the engine, some were sometimes a little bit quicker than others. Don't know why. It just has to what. I remember Neil Hodgson having a fast engine at Hockenheim in '97. Sometimes it happened, and I was the worst person for it not to happen to because I got really wound up then if I felt somebody was getting something better than me, But the second race, obviously, with the famous incident with Frankie, I won the race, but I couldn't do the same again. He passed me, but he was getting in my way, holding me up. He couldn't lead the race. And I got back past him again, but I couldn't shake him off. So it came to the last lap, onto the last lap, and I thought, he ain't doing this again. I came onto the straight, and I started weaving on the straight, which is something a lot of the 125 guys and 250 guys always used to do anyway. But I don't know. Obviously, he was coming to go past me, I think. And I almost clipped him. He was very, very fast. Almost at the end of the straight, which was a bit of a kink left it was. So I held him off. But then I made a mistake about 2 or 3 corners later. I hit the wrong gear and he came past me. I thought, no problem, no panic. You are faster than him in the last left-hand corner into chicane. Just bang it down to first gear, no problem. Which is exactly what I did. I came up the inside of him, obviously missed him completely. But he obviously let go of the brakes, went on the brakes again, went down. I didn't even know he crashed, to be honest. So I won the race. So won the second race again, like I did from '97 when I got beaten the first race from John. And I came round. I thought, why is Frankie there? I thought maybe he'd stopped as he'd gone off the line, but he was angry and annoyed that he'd lost the race, I didn't know he'd crashed at this point. But obviously it quickly became evident they had done because all hell broke loose then. We were just a bit of handbags at the door and all that kind of stuff, And then he came into the press conference after it. I think Virginia had prompted him to do that, from what I was told. In a blue dressing gown, dripping wet, so not the look that you associate with Frankie. And he's Italian, so the smooth guy that he was. And it kicked off again a little bit or something. I don't know, but people remember that now. They go on about it all the time. I think the blue dressing gown, but I think he was frustrated and with himself because once he'd gone down, that was his chances then. Of not win the world championship, but he could tell it was bubbling up. There was a lot of friction between the 2 Ducati teams, really, and
it was just extraordinary though because he was in his dressing gown, and because Frankie was a character that everybody just loved, and he was always so effervescent and sweet and a tough competitor, but I don't think any of us had ever seen him like that on camera. And it was like handbags at dawn, wasn't it? It was extraordinary. So to imagine that happening now, it's quite crazy. But we love Frankie. I saw him last year, and it's so nice to see him. So
he is. He's like, if I think back to all the guys that I miss, and stuff like that, he'd probably be top of the list, to be honest, because he was probably the one I got on with better than most, really. He was such a nice guy, as you say, very passionate, very, very emotional guy. When I've seen him since like a classic bike show in the UK somewhere. Oh, Foggy, it's like he starts crying, feeling it getting really emotional. He's that kind of guy. But yeah, it was just one of those things at that time, really, you know. But people remember it and still talk about it today. Really, it was.
Well, I mean, he used to cry a lot back then. You know, something good happened, he was in tears, and it was always sort of beautiful to watch. But there were a lot of characters back then. And you mentioned earlier Scott Russell, who was obviously a big rival for you in the early 90s, and he seemed to sort of change in about 1994 in terms of how he raced. Did you get on with Scott? And because he was quite a party animal later in his career, wasn't he?
I probably did actually. We probably had more so than probably Colin and John. I think we had more things said through press, or TV, you know, TV and stuff. But then probably have a few beers or whatever, pizza or something in Assen or whatever, you know. But yeah, I don't think he was hard to beat. Really was in 93, 94. When I beat me in 94, I should have done it in 93. Really, I made too many mistakes. I really did. The bike, the Ducati 93 was quite a bit stronger than the Kawasaki, really. But in 94 with the new 916 and stuff, and we went down to the last round of the year in Australia. I think he was pretty confident he was going to win it, and I came out on top and won that. And it was the second race that he knew all I had to follow him over the line to win the world championship, and that's kind of what I did, really. And he looked round and just went, "Oh, you know what, it's yours," sort of thing. Like if you had a towel, you'd throw it in. I think Keith Ewan said at the time, commentating.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was ever the same after that, to be honest. I really don't. In 95, he did the first round or two, then someone got injured, or maybe Swans saw it. I think Swans retired, didn't he, from Suzuki in GPs. And he took the ride, and he got it a few after that. But I think he wasn't the best. That was the best you've seen of him, really. I think he went to GPs when maybe he's really real drive and determination to win what wasn't there, really, you know. I think personally. Yeah.
And a lot of people say it's such a shame that you didn't get, you know, a full-time factory ride in GPs. I mean, your career ended up being incredible even without GPs, because at the time World Superbike globally was such a big sport, wasn't it? It was a huge rival for GPs. I mean, it's a slightly different kilter now, I think.
Yeah, I think that was the problem as well, really, because it was so big. Certainly this country and a few other countries, even the lap times would compare to them, would be faster sometimes at Donington and Laguna. That it almost didn't seem that important to go because it was so big. The sport we was in GPs, I think in sort of like 99, didn't really have a name, if I'm honest. And I think the British Grand Prix had like 15,000 there. It was the World Superbike had 125,000, some crazy number. But you would, looking back now, yeah, I mean, me on the mall, I don't know how close I was signing for Malby. I'll never know. I think I had a meeting with Kenny Roberts in Spain at the end of 95.
Yeah.
He wanted us on the bike, but then I got the phone call, I think from his I can't remember his name, of the guy that run the team for him. It's called Skip. Is it called Skip or something? Skip Aslan, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
He said that, look, Malby don't want you on the bike, and that was it. And a similar sort of thing happened with Lucky Strike Suzuki 2 years before that. But how true all this is, I'll never know, really. But I think me on that Yamaha, yeah, I had to run up front and won races and challenge for the world championships. There's no question in my mind at all. People like, at that time, who rode like me, I think your Biaggi's rode like me, your Cadalora, Caparossi, Carlos Checker, they're all very, very similar riders to me. That high corner speed guy. I mean, they'd have beat me. Yeah, I'm sure they would have beat me sometimes. I'd have beat them. So I'd have been there challenging. I'm sorry, it would be very ignorant of me to sit here now and say, I'd have won the world championship. Maybe I would have said that 20 years ago. I won't say that now, I think. But would I win races? 2 or 3 years on the Malby? Absolutely. No one's going to beat me at Donington or Assen, place like that. I know that 100%. And I like to think over the season I had a chance for the world championship as well. But it wasn't to be. And partly my fault, I think. Mainly, probably more so my fault than anybody's. I don't think I approached it right. I don't think I presented myself right. I went it about the right way. I think if I go back now, knowing what I know now, I'd be a lot different person. I think I'd be even better as a rider. I really do think that. I think I'd be a lot smarter. I'd think about it more and more consistent, fitter. I'd be awesome. I'd be absolutely awesome. But yeah, it's just one. It didn't happen, and maybe it's my fault. But yeah, it would have, and I think it hurt a little bit. It didn't really bother me, to be honest. It doesn't bother me now. As you can see, I'm not bitter at all, and I'm very well over it.
But it was
No, but when Cal won the Grand Prix about 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was in Ibiza at the time, and that kind of brought it on to me. That hurt a little bit then, because I like Cal, I'm a big fan of Cal's, I really am. But it was like everyone was saying, he's the first person to win British since Barry Sheehan, and that name should have been changed. It should have said since Carl Fogarty, and is that my fault? Is it others' fault? Whatever. And that's gone. That can never be changed now. So that hurt me a little bit. I must admit, I got goosebumps now. I felt that, for the first time in a long time, I thought you should have made it happen. You should have. But the Superbike was so big, it was hard to. But if you'd have made it happen, you'd have been like Yamaha. Because when I rode one-off wildcard rides on somebody else's bike, I'd run up pretty much up front with these guys. You saw the Grand Prix in '93. I got on the bike at the Kajiva on the Friday. I've been jumped off 1,000cc four-stroker pretty much. And then I'm on this two-stroke going, wah, wah. I'm thinking, what the hell is this thing doing? I can't talk gear in me anywhere, anything, And they're all coming in and clapping. I'm going, there's a lot of clapping about. And I looked at the screen, I couldn't see my name anywhere. I thought, God, I was second fastest. We all go to bed on Friday night. I've had one day on the bike. I'm second fastest behind Wayne Rainey. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if I know what this bike's doing, I might want to change the gearbox. I can't tell if it's in first or second gear. Sorry, second or third. Because you could change the big gearbox quite quickly back then. And so they said, well, just ride it as it is tomorrow. It was unbelievable what you've done so far. I said, well, go much faster than that. And want to know what the thing's doing. So I jumped on the bike in the Saturday morning warm-up. On the first lap, I was looking around coming out of Melbourne, and I looked back around. The thing was sideways. Oh fuck! It just threw me over the bars. Obviously having two strokes, you had to pay attention a bit more. I wasn't paying attention on the first lap, and that ruined the whole day, really. And I dropped from second fastest down to fifth. So we just guessed everything for Sunday on the. I can't remember whose bike I was riding. I think it was Doug Chandler's bike I was riding. His Kajiva, I think it was in. And so the race came. We just put a soft rear tyre in, left the gearbox as it was because I didn't really know what to do. And I got going in the race. There was a bit of an incident on the first lap. I can't remember who went down. I think Swans went down and Doohan, maybe somebody else. But I got through it all. I caught Cadalora up, past Cadalora, and I just for 1 or 2 laps held the distance and maybe just gained a little bit on Rainy. And then the front brake went. I couldn't find the adjuster to wind the front brake out anywhere. So I ended up almost stopping. I came out of McLean's, stood right up on the bike, and I found it was under obviously the clutch lever. Right? Wine. Got the lever back out again. Cadalora came back past me. And then the rear tyre went. So I was holding third place, as you know. Then on the last lap, Neil was catching us up, Mackenzie. I was getting really tired on the back as well. My fitness wasn't that good. I don't know, maybe I was fighting with the back with the gearbox. I can't remember now, but I thought I've held on to third place. Then it started misfiring a bit on the last lap. I thought, oh, for God's sake, what's going on with this thing now, And I came out of Melbourne Loop, running up to the last corner, and it went, whoa, it just totally cut out. I mean, if you see the video of me going into the last corner, into Goddard's, because the bike's cut out, I braked so late, I'm like, my leg come off, a bit like they do now, all these leg danglers now, Because someone said recently, who was the first to start that leg dangling off? Someone said, it was Carl Fogarty, the British Grand Prix, on the last lap. But it weren't on purpose. I went in that hard, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose it here. But because I was conscious Neil was going to come past because the bike was cutting out. And I got into God, I was like, thank God for that. And I just kind of knew something was going to go wrong coming out. As I came out in first gear, on full song, changed the second, went boo, and I just thought I could sit checker flag, and Neil just came by. I thought, oh, I can't believe it. After the whole weekend, really, had it gone better, me as a wildcard, and somebody else's bike, never seen it before, really. Could have won I was about 22 seconds off winning the British Grand Prix with all the problems. In a weekend when I needed to be on the bike more than anybody else, because I've never seen it before, I was on less than anybody else. And just rub salt in the wound. The thing was running out of fuel going over the start and finish of the checker flag. So, but yeah, it would have been nice to have 2 or 3 years on the Yamaha. It really would, I guess.
Yeah.
Looking. Never mind.
It would have
We
been
did all right though. We did all right.
it's fantastic just hearing, you know, you're talking about Rainey and Schwantz and Doohan and, you know, you in the mix. It would have been amazing, obviously, to have seen you racing full-time
Well,
against them. But we can't rewrite history. And I guess you and Sky Sports at the time in World Superbike was a perfect storm. And, you know, it created this whole big, overwhelming sport and desire for people to go. And it packed out and sold out. And, you know, and you got 4 world titles.
I've had a great time. I should have no regrets, all that kind of stuff. And obviously, I'm not bitter one bit, as you can tell. But no, I'm joking.
It's really interesting, actually, to hear you talking about that and being so open about that you know, the opportunity that you maybe could have pushed for a little bit harder. And
it was probably more my fault, really, than anybody else's, that I didn't make it happen. But maybe I got a bit lazy with the Superbike thing was just so big. It was just ridiculous. I mean, Sky was doing adverts with us and all sorts. It was ridiculous. Sun newspaper following us for a full year. Everybody was just crazy. I think I got lost in all that, really. And obviously with the GPs not really getting much attention over here. It didn't seem that important, really. But looking back, it was important.
Yeah. Well, you know, things in different places. We're all different places at different times. Oh yeah, Geordie Lodge is just. He would like it if he could see one of your bikes. Have you got any bikes in your house still? Or?
I'll get the garage. I've just taped all this thing up because it fell apart. I can take you into the garage. There's a few bikes in there, nothing of any value. Oh, actually, there is. Sorry, there's. I'll tell you what's in there. Can you see where you're going now? Is that all right?
Yeah, I've got a slight delay, so I might react 2 seconds after you do something, but I can see you.
You see that there? No. You read that?
It's a poster. 1 second. It's back to front.
Right.
Back to front poster.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. This little bike here, can you see that or not? All right.
1 second.
I think.
Yeah, he's going there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all on.
That's kind of what it all started for me on. That's my first ever bike. Obviously, my dad bought me in 1975 for my 10th birthday. It was a local dealer, a Honda dealer. It was a little Honda C50 engine called Ken Martin. And my dad got that off him. He outgrew it. It's a homemade little bike with a Honda C50 engine. There's probably quite a few people's careers started on those bikes. So that came back to me a few years ago and I had it all restored and stuff. So that's probably my most prized possession, to be honest. The bike that it all started on back on my 10th birthday in 1975.
Wow, that's so sweet.
There's just a few motocross bikes, really, dirt bikes in the oh, my CCM's here. Sorry, I'm obviously doing quite a bit of stuff with CCM at the moment.
Yeah. And
that's the Foggy, the flat track version, the stealth package on it. It's about 300 of these. Well, I think there's only about 100 left, actually. You can get that bike from CCM direct from the factory. You can have it any colour you want. So I think that's the beauty about getting something from direct from the manufacturer. You can pretty much choose your own bike, really. So that's there. It's a beautiful little thing. That's my mate's R1. He's hiding from his wife. Obviously, she knows about it now. Gymnasium that never gets used. Got me Ducati mountain bike there. It's great fun. Love getting on the mountain bike. It's brilliant. What else is in here? Nothing really.
Hey Carl, a lot of people are asking because they obviously know that you used to have your championship winning 916 in the whole way. That's in another country now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's in Germany at the moment. It's probably going to be staying there for a very, very long time. Yeah, it's there. You know what? I met this guy, he's a lovely guy. Big collector, big fan of mine, South African guy, kind of lives in Germany and New York, really. He's got a few Ducatis, and you know what? They don't really mean that much to me, if I'm honest. I'm not that bothered. It was at the bottom of the stairs in the hallway. It's not anymore. It's gone to him. I don't know. I was looking at this bike for 20 years at the bottom of the stairs and seeing bloody brake fluid leaking oil, and I thought, you know what? It just reminds me of what I can't do anymore, if I'm honest. So
right.
It's gone to him, but there is another bike through here. If you can, still got enough time. I don't know. I just remembered, actually. I saw a bike in this room about 3 weeks ago. I think it's still here. This is my man cave. You like my man cave?
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
this is
Amazing.
fantastic. Honestly, Carl, we're getting the crib. We're getting the whole
This
thing.
all right?
Awesome.
Oh, you're getting cribs. You're right. Oh, look, see, I knew there's another bike in here somewhere. It's there. That's
This is your games room.
Yeah, it's a man cave. So number 1 of 500. That's the Panigale anniversary thing that came out last year. But yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
bar, foggy football shirt there from Blackburn. You might.
This is.
He's gone. He's freezing.
Oh, I think you're frozen. Can you still hear me,
Currently on the
Carl?
market. Foggy
You have to go back.
gold.
Oh,
Oh, okay, you're back.
So there you go.
This is
But
this
room
is brilliant.
not changed since about 2003. So we're just about to go and bring it a bit more modern, really. I know it looks quite modern now, but just do the floor, have a new bar area. The rest of the house all got kind of renovated 2 or 3 years ago, but this room hasn't been done. But it's my favourite room in the house. It still is. I come in here every night and get the flick the TV on while all them lot are in there watching some shitty soaps or whatever. I'm trying to find something. I've just discovered Netflix now, so I'm quite happy. Netflix is brilliant, isn't it? Some really good sort of dramas on there. and whatnot.
that is brilliant, isn't it?
That's a dream man cave, isn't it? It's just full of gold.
Yeah.
It seems
And
to me
that's,
that is a perfect
Maybe
room in there.
show you a view. Can you see out? You might see Blackpool Tower. I can see it actually today. Right out there is Blackpool Tower. Can you see that?
Really?
He's freezing when he's went outside.
You're
Yeah,
sort of
losing
you're
signal.
freezing a little bit when you're going out. Oh, that's beautiful
Blackpool Tower.
view.
All right. Okay. I'm trying to point out to Blackpool Towers, just between them 2 trees there.
Okay.
Can you see that? No.
Not really.
We're just
The most iconic tower in the world, obviously.
more than the Eiffel Tower.
Obviously, yeah.
Do you know?
What are you doing living in France anyway? What's all that about?
Oh,
It's still full of French people.
Do you know, I used to love you at breakfast because if we were staying in a hotel or something and you didn't get an English breakfast, you'd always go, "Oh, the food's rubbish here, isn't it? You can't get any bacon and egg."
Yeah. You'll not get steak, pudding, chips, peas and gravy over there very often, will you?
No. It's just it's a house that I've got for when I'm sort of chilling out, and I ended up being here when we locked down, so that's why I'm here. I am still a UK resident. You will be glad to know.
Good.
Listen, how are we for time?
That's great. Yeah, we're still 8 minutes past 11, but we're not getting a warning yet.
Oh,
so.
we're not getting kicked off. Okay, well, I'm aware.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm taking up your time, but I'm also aware that we haven't talked about road racing, Carl, and I feel as though it's remiss to not just discuss that a little bit and your antics at the Isle of Man and your lap record and your success that you had there, because we talk about the short circuits and superbikes all the time, and everybody knows about that, even if they're not a bike fan. But I'm not sure that everybody knows about your prowess on real roads.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that, to be honest, because when I write down on my CV who I am, what I've done, I put 7 times world champion. People sometimes go, "I thought you won 4," and it kind of annoys me a little bit that they missed 3 out of the endurance world championships, with somebody else in that. But the 2 other titles that I won on the road circuits, basically it was a world championship based on road circuits, like the TT, some proper dangerous circuits like Macau type circuits in Portugal and in Finland, places like that. So they mean a lot to me when I look back on my career. Probably, maybe more so, Can't believe I'm saying this, but I think somebody asked me recently. It might have been the MCN quite a few years ago now. Pick out one race, that means the most in it. And I found myself thinking, oh my God, it's a senior TT in 30 years ago.
92.
No, in 1990. I won both big races there in 1990. And as a kid, I was brought up with all that, really. All my childhood memories, really, of following my dad around to the race circuits like Aintree, Alton Park, but the TT, we got a week off school. It was great, and I'd be getting into mischief and amusing to our kids and whatnot, but going up and watching him, walking like a mile or 2, maybe round to sort of, well, from the start and finish, round to signpost, going, hanging out a bit of like a slate or something, a scratch position, P4 or wherever it was, So And he never won it. He finished second behind probably the most famous person ever, obviously Joey Dunlop around there in 19. Joey's first ever race win, actually, that was in '77. My dad was second. So he didn't win it. He had quite a bit of bad luck though, but he had a good luck as well, because he crashed everywhere around there with my dad. Everywhere. If we went around with my dad now, you have crashed the bottom of Bray Hill. Who crashes there and walks away? A few scratches on. Everywhere. I mean, I think you're on first names terms with the helicopter pilot in the mid-70s. But so yeah, my success there is something I'm really, really proud of, and it's something I know will never happen again. Someone said to me recently, do you realise all the years you were world Superbike champion, you were doing what you were doing on the short circuits, whether it's a wild card, Grand Prix or whatever, you were still the fastest guy around the iomtt. And I thought, oh, that gave me goosebumps. That's fantastic. That's never going to happen again. You're either one or the other. To be the fastest guy around the iomtt for 7 years, from 92 to 99, and all those years I was racing on short circuit World Superbike, but still the fastest guy around the TT, which I get so passionate about. And so, I mean, you know, a lot of people don't, but it's something it's in me, and I think having done it and won it, things like that, it's hard to explain to people who've never done it, who hate it out, because it is complete madness, but it means so much to me. I don't know why, probably because of how dangerous it is, I guess, and because obviously the childhood memories and my dad racing there and whatnot. But yeah, it means as much to me winning that as it does to winning any World Superbike race. Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And how instrumental at that time, going back to the early 90s and you racing at the Isle of Man, was Steve Hislop for you?
Yeah, I met Steve at Scarborough, I think just after my leg injuries. I broke my legs pretty badly, and just as I was making a name for myself on the 250s, I wanted to be 250 world champion, like you wouldn't believe, in 1986. I was absolutely...
So that actually almost ended your career before it started, didn't it?
Yeah. The doctor's saying, look, maybe you should retire from this sport. I'm thinking, what? I'm meant to be world champion. What the hell are you on about? You know. But the injuries I picked up, bad injuries to my legs. I met Steve actually at Scarborough in one of my first races back. I think it was in '87 after missing the last part of the year in '86. I'd just finished 11th in the British Grand Prix. I had to beg for a ride. And I broke 4 lap records in 4 weekends at Mallory Park, Aberdare, Scarborough and Snetterton. I finished second at Snetterton behind a guy he won the British Grand Prix the year before, Tuesday before, Andy Watts, 250 rider. And I did really well in the British Grand Prix. It was absolutely the worst weather ever. I kept the thing upright. I finished 11th in the British Grand Prix. I was 20 years old, I think I was. And then the week after, I was having meetings with people like Chaz Mortimer. They wanted to take me to Grand Prix and things like that. And then the next round was Alton Park, British Championship round at Alton Park. I thought, oh, it's my circuit. I'm gonna win it. And I went practicing on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. Got some old slick tyres out the garage that my dad had used 4 or 5 years ago, which is stupid, really, looking back. And obviously, I didn't know back then. I just slick tyres, put them in, and I think I crashed. It might have been the first lap. I had a massive high side and broke my leg really badly. Femur, obviously the bone came through the skin, everything. So that was, because of that accident, really, I was in the wilderness until about 1989. 3 years I'd missed it in a way with bad injuries. I broke it again in 1987. So that forced me on then to superbikes. I guess finally I could get comfortable on a bike again after 2 years of riding in pain on little cramped up 250s. Sorry, I've gone off a bit of a tangent. You're asking me about Steve. Obviously, Steve. So I met Steve at Scarborough, and at TT, he was probably done TT a few more times than me. He won it. I think he won it in '87. That was my second TT. But he was the guy to beat. He was the fastest guy. He was the fastest guy I've ever seen, really, on the road circuit, if I'm honest. So for me to beat him, or battle with him in 89, 1991, 93, 4 years, really. It was beat him a few times, and then he beat me, and we both left there. He was the guy that learned me how to go fast round there, if I'm honest. And it was all in a race. I ended up winning. 1989 was the first TT win on the RC30 in the production race. And I set off. It was the last time you set off with people. After that, and now it's all separate. And I set off with probably the fastest guy for that race, Dave Leach. He was number 7, I was number 8, and I got away before him. I just got off a 125. I don't know even why I rode the 125. It was a horrible thing. I finished 3rd on it and set the fastest lap. Back then, I'd just ride anything. I don't know why, even the TT. But so I got this big 3rd, and it felt weird. And Dave Leach came past me, and I stuck with him. And God, oh, he's going quick in places. This is what you got to do. You got to be more aggressive. Like, get off the brakes more, get on the gas. Places where I've been relaxed and flowing, you've got to be a lot more, almost like short circuit style, really, really determined. And it wasn't until the last lap, we all pitted differently. I can't remember now who pitted what and when, but the three of us, Steve was like number 6, so we're 10 seconds in front of us. So we started the last lap. Steve came past me. He must have pitted differently, obviously. So he's got now the whole lap to pull 10 seconds on me and Dave Leach, because we set off together. And I'm following these guys and thinking, Jesus, got top of Bagara and Kurt Michael, and like almost letting go of the brakes and kind of going like that, really. Thinking, fuck, how fast these guys are going, kind of getting sucked along with them, you know. Lose a little bit and gain on the brakes, going into Baloff, something like that, and lose them a little bit around all the fast sections towards Milltown. Down on the brakes again, I caught up a lot of time into Parliament Square. I remember passing Steve then, at the Parliament Square, Ramsey up, somewhere around there past him. And I looked round to him as he came out the gooseneck and went, fuck off. In my head, I was shouting, and I'm thinking, I wonder if he understands what I'm on about here. And he did. He said, I knew exactly what you're on about. This is not his race anymore. Yeah. He's had 3/4 of a lap to pull some time on us to try and win this race. He hasn't pulled 1 second to gooseneck. Now, the mountain section was what I would say was my bit really there, and that was a short circuit bit. I knew where I was going over there. So when I had said to Steve, stay out of this, he knew what I meant and stayed out of it. So it was between me and Dave Leaks then. And I passed Dave quickly, got my head down over the mountain. It was absolutely flying. I thought it was. I thought, I must have got away here now. And just on the run down from Brandish down to Hillborough, he came alongside me. I went, oh no, I let go of the brakes. I'm flying around Hillborough, down Signpost Corner, so fast around there. Went into Governor's Bridge, and the front was hopping. I thought, I'm going to lose the front. No. Threw it in there and just weaving all the way up to the line. And I won by 1.8 seconds. I pulled that much distance, and the last 2 corners went crazy. That I'd gone away from him, you know. And so that's the race. I was learnt how to win the TT, and I ended up winning in the same race from Steve and from Dave Leach, who were the fastest 2 guys around at that point. And the aggression and how much road they were using in places I wasn't. And then, so then I remembered all this when I came back for 1990. And I just got in Steve's head, to be honest, in 1990. I really did. He was number 6 again. I was number 8. I said, I'm going to catch you. I'm going to beat you. And I won both big races. And I remember winning as I'm coming down to the senior TT on the 6th lap. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to win. I was 50 seconds in front from, I can't remember who was second now, maybe Trevor Nation or Dave Leach, I can't remember who it was. Steve had pulled out the race, thought it was too dangerous because it was raining. The last time, I guess you'd run a race in the rain back then. I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm going to win the senior TT. I was starting to fill up and start crying in my helmet, you know. I thought, come on, get a grip here. You've got a few miles to go, yeah. You might break down and run out of fuel. So anyway, we crossed the line and that was it. I just won the senior TT, which is something I dreamt of since I was a kid, you know. And I never thought I would go back there after that race. And then I kind of got dragged back there to do one race and share the bike with Joey Dunlop in 1991, which I shouldn't really have done, to be honest. And I had a problem in the race with the bike. It was misfiring in 20 seconds. So I didn't think I'd go back again. And then 92, I ended up going back again for different reasons, really. I actually replaced Steve Islop, funnily enough, on the Yamaha. Steve had a fallout with Yamaha, I think. So he was on the Norton. I went back, I entered the TT at last minute because it was costing me a fortune to run the Ducati in World Superbike. I just won at Donington. And this thing was costing a fortune. I thought, I've got TT. I think I got paid something like £7,000 off Yamaha. 7 grand off the tourist board. So that's 14 grand, which was a lot of money back then in 1992. So I went back and did the race. I was leading the first race by a country mile. And we would have stopped Honda winning 10 in a row. And on the 5th lap over the mountain, I went down to the gearbox into Bungalow with a big smile on my face, thinking, I'm going to win this race by miles. 35 seconds in front of, I think it was Philip Mikayla at the time. And he went, just the gearbox went. And I was like, oh my God. Absolutely heartbroken. It really, really was. So then the last race of the week is a senior. And I think you know, obviously, the story of it all. Me and Steve is both there. And I hadn't won a race between us that week. And it was a hell of a race between us both. It really was. Him on the super fast note and me on the probably better handling Yamaha. I just couldn't. I remember leading the first 2 laps thinking, it's got to be Islop. It can't be anybody else. pushing me this hard around here. It really can't, and it was. And yeah, he still gets voted the greatest race of all time, I suppose. And very proud of it, really. We both. That was my last ever lap, and he beat me by 4 seconds. I pulled some seconds back over the mountain, 4 I think it was. Took the lap record, which stood for 7 years, and said goodbye to it, really. And I guess it was a fitting way to say goodbye in some ways. And Steve kind of did as well, really. He said, I'm not coming back neither. But he did go back. He missed a year. Went back in 94, won both races, obviously. He was that much ahead of everybody else. And then never went back himself again. But, yeah, he was a good friend back then and a big rival. But on road circuits, on short circuits, I never considered him a rival. Never really saw him at all. It was always, you know, Terry Reimers, Whittams, John Reynolds, Robert Kelly, them kind of guys then. But then Steve, the older he got, he just seems to get faster and faster. And you want them kind of guys with Steve Hislop. And the only other guy similar to him, in my opinion, was someone like Simon Crafer, that everything had to be just right on the short circuit I'm talking about now. When it was, they could do something incredible. It really could. Fast lap time. But if you just said to someone like Simon Crafer before a race, a British Grand Prix or something, which he obviously won, or Steve Hislop, I think that front tire's not quite right. The red would fall off completely.
Yeah.
Once they were in the zone, when the bike was working absolutely perfect, when they had so much confidence in the tires, him and Steve Hislop with two guys who could go really, really fast. But it wasn't very often they could do that. You know, when most of the time your bike's never set up that well, you've got to ride round problems and adjust your style and do this and do that. But there was guys you could get in the reds very, very easily with Steve, definitely very easily. But on his day, on short circuits, after I'd retired, I kept watching thinking, he's going faster and faster. It was just incredible. Sadly
amazing guy, and really sadly missed. I know we're running out of time. Listen, I actually can't tell you how joyous it is to speak to you.
Really? You're just saying, you know, to make me feel better.
No, I've got a million questions to ask you as normal. And
once I start meaning to a story, I can't shut me up, can you?
I know.
I'm like, trying to get it over. I'm trying to speak that fast to get the story through. I'm tripping over myself. Can't just relax and calm down, can I?
Listen, before you go, just one final question. Obviously, your life and your achievements has given you and afforded you the opportunity to do lots of different things. Like, I remember flying with the Red Arrows with you, for example, and things that, you know, you don't get to experience unless you've got world titles or you're in the media and you're lucky or whatever. What are the things you've done that stay with you as moments in your life that you'll never forget, that are outside of racing?
Oh, well, obviously the top one has got to be I'm a Celebrity. That was it's just something, like I said, because of my success in the 90s, and you become a household name, even though I was never really aware of it, to be honest. That when the opportunities come to do things, and you do say yes to them, and then you don't know how it's going to go, but that's just unbelievable experience. I really can't top that. Things like Red Arrows, and there's probably something I'm missing right now off the top of my head. I don't know. But yeah, I think that more than anything, doing that TV show and just showing the different side, well, showing me as I am now, you know, and going through all that experience of it, really coping with everything that was thrown at you. That was, I think, yeah, that would top the list, I guess, Susie.
Fair enough. Okay, well, Carl, thanks for your time this morning. Thanks for
Pleasure.
sharing your house and your life and
Loved
your
it.
experience with us. I know it's on.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first. I don't do many interviews anymore, to be fair.
I know.
And then when it was you, I thought, I like Susie, very professional, very easy to talk to. And I've never done one on this kind of Insta thing before or whatever, but yeah, I think it's gone all right. I keep seeing all these bubble things coming up. I don't know what's going on.
They're hearts.
The hearts. All right, okay.
In fact, everybody that's watching in the Breakfast Club now, just press your hearts, and then we can send lots of love to each other. So that's a nice thing to do. Get the hearts going for Foggy, but for everybody in the club as well. If you're feeling a little bit, you know, on your own, a bit isolated, a bit fed up, I hope you've enjoyed the chat with Carl, and I hope he's brought some light to your lockdown. Happy birthday to Gareth Ross, by the way. Could you say happy birthday to Gareth, Foggy, for me?
Happy birthday, Gareth. Have a good day, mate. All the best to you. Stay safe. Everybody stay safe. And yeah, set the AHS and all that. And good luck to all you guys. And this mess will soon be over, I'm sure. Just stay safe.
It'll still pass. Thank you so much, Carl. Hope to see you in the flesh soon. And love to you and all the Foggies.
Thanks, Susie. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. So as the Geordie Lodger sorts the technology out, I say thank you very much, everybody, for listening to that. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did. And I kind of know half of the stuff, but he always comes up with something that you don't know. And I've always enjoyed chatting with Carl. He's always been a wonderful interviewee because he wears his heart on his sleeve. And that is, I think, one of the reasons why he doesn't do so many interviews now. But I know it's extended as well. So great that we've got the time to stick with it. And I just need to tell you, yeah, everybody can get back to their day and all the things that you've got to do. Tomorrow morning, we've got the wonderful Julian Ryder and Michael Laverty joining us. So more two-wheeled action and stories for you tomorrow. And two great guys. Even if you're not into bikes, then I'm sure you'll enjoy it. But have a brilliant Wednesday. Have a wonderful Wednesday. And, you know, just remember why we all click on in the morning and join in. We're all here for you. We've got your back on the Breakfast Club. So sending you loads of love, and hopefully we'll see you in the morning, 9 o'clock sharp. Big kiss from me and the Geordie Lodger.